there, Capricorn, and welcome to your May 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are intriguing for you right now or important in any way, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening. I also want to say really quickly that you can use this reading for your sun, moon, or your rising sign, and it's also possible if sometimes they don't resonate. Especially in the beginning of the month is typically what I hear from people. If you come back to the reading at the end of May and give it a listen, I think you could be surprised by some of the connections that you may see. So I encourage you to experiment with that if at first the messages don't quite seem to make sense. All right, Capricorn, let's get into your reading. While I was tuning in for you, I had this impression of someone putting on, what's the word, like tennis shoes, but they were like brand new. And there was this almost feeling of anticipation. And then I just see legs running and I start to hear really powerful, like uplifting music. So it was kind of an interesting visual to get, but this feels so important for those of you who are doing things differently right now. Many people are out of their normal routine, and that may continue for, a good majority of people during the month of May. But I feel like for you, there's this sense of you really making a decisive effort to take care of yourself. And I think that you're doing that in the absolute best freaking way possible, because as I almost like my eyes kind of watered a little bit from just the power of that vision. And whether it is through exercise or through meditation or it feels like a discipline. Honestly, it feels like there's some kind of a self-care practice that you're taking really seriously either right now or you are initiating that in the month of May. And I think that this is going to do wonders for your physical vessel, which of course, as we know, the physical vessel is everything, because our emotional and mental state actually is also very physiological. So if we're feeling depressed and down, that's accompanied by very real physical markers of those emotions. For example, your hormones are going to look different than somebody who's feeling, at their normal level of energy, let's say, and have a moderately hopeful or optimistic attitude to life. Their physiology is actually going to reflect that, whereas a depressed person or a fatigued person is probably going to have mental and physical markers of that energy. So nothing is really that separate when we're thinking of the mindscape and the body's landscape. They are really one and the same. And I think that you are so on fire this month with how you're taking care of yourself on all those levels, right? So whatever this is, it's like you're listening to really good music, or you're meditating, or you're working out, you're breathing deep, you're doing something for yourself. And I think it's so, so great. Like, I'm so happy for you, because as that message, and even as I'm saying this, look, it's like I went to shuffle and we've got the Ace of Cups and the Chariot, which again is that feeling of spiritual rejuvenation with the Ace of Cups and feeling purified and clear. And then the Chariot is that take charge. Even running can be another meaning of the Chariot in a very practical sense, because it represents forward motion. And that motion can be literally physically moving your body forward. So I think that you're right on track. Don't let any outside influence deter you from what you're doing for yourself right now. Don't feel guilty for taking time for you. Don't feel like there's better uses of your time, because honestly, there really aren't. If you are taking care of yourself, purifying and strengthening your body, feeling good in your own skin, getting good sleep, drinking enough water, just doing whatever simple things, and also not being hard on yourself in that process either, not like kind of going over the top with it, but just really hitting those marks where you're like, all right, I went for a run today. I did what I'm supposed to do to take care of myself. I cleared my head. I was breathing deep. I moved my circulation in my body, and I came up with some interesting ideas while I was on the run as well. Like, that's the kind of thing that actually over time, if you continue to engage in this kind of positive activity, that's going to create beneficial cycles in your life, Capricorn, where you're going to feel stronger physically, and therefore you're going to feel stronger emotionally, and you're going to feel stronger when you're interacting with people who intimidate you, or when you're dealing with a stressful situation with work or finances or family. You're going to have a greater sense of control and self assurance because you've done those little things for yourself. And so it just creates this beneficial cycle. And so I think it's really, really great. And I want to just encourage you to keep going with it, and don't let anybody make you feel guilty for taking extra time for yourself right now. I think that this is going to ultimately give you the ability to do and accomplish and serve way more than you thought possible. So let's take a look at your cards and we'll get some more information. Capricorn. Spirit, please give us clear, loving, accurate guidance for Capricorn. Okay. Sometimes when I'm searching for the feeling, it's like heat over the cards. And if I don't feel it at first, I'm like, wait, why am I not feeling it? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to breathe. Because sometimes it's so quiet and I want to take such care in choosing the cards. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you guys, but I guess I am. So I feel like I'll almost kind of hold my breath for a second to feel, because I'm trying to really focus. But breathing actually is what brings the heat up from the cards. Like when I take an inhale, that's usually when I pick up that little electrical charge that I get. Alrighty. And we're also going to get you a lovely Bob Ross message. I just absolutely cannot imagine not working with this deck at this point. Bob Ross message for the Capricorns. Okay. Let's take a look here. Aw, we've got Dolphin. Crossed by the Eagle. Ooh, two of my favorite creatures. This is great. God, I'm loving, again, just loving this reading for you guys already. So hopefully you're just feeling this and enjoying it too. So the Dolphin as your path, this is a path of joy. With the Dolphin, we get this real sense of playfulness. And again, when I think of dolphins, I think about how far they migrate in the water and how they will swim vast distances, and they are so comfortable being in motion, right? And I think that this is a really good metaphor for you, is comfort being in motion. In May, I think that you're going to find that things can actually begin to flow along smoothly again, even if you have been one of the people who has been majorly impacted as far as your personal finances or your professional life. If you were somebody that had your hours cut or were laid off, you could start to feel like you're getting into a different groove in your life again. And maybe it's not the exact same groove that you were in before, but there is a sense of, okay, a new pattern is emerging here and you're having fun with it. So whatever it is, I think something is sort of stabilizing or coming into focus for you, but it's also something that's still very much in motion and developing. So kind of be in that middle ground, Capricorn, where you don't have to have everything figured out, but you're still willing to kind of move forward with optimism and openness to life anyway. So, and again, I see the athleticism or the exercise or taking care of yourself in a physical way very strongly with this card. The influencing energy is the Eagle. So this is about being at a point of convergence in your life, Capricorn. And I think that this is something that we may have touched on in recent readings for you, but Capricorns, you guys have the most powerful transformations of anyone right now. With Pluto still in your sign and Saturn's actually going to retrograde back into your sign before too long. We've had so many stelliums in your sign in the last year or so that I can't even count. Like, it's practically almost been consistent. A consistent stellium. So you've had a lot going on. And I think that this Eagle card is really showing you, because the Eagle card is the higher octave of Scorpio, which is actually the full moon that we have this month on May 7th, which is actually in your 11th house. This is showing that you are kind of rising up within like a higher octave of a transformation that you've been going through. So there's a sense of rising with this card. There's a sense of being your own advocate with this card as well. So make sure to just, if you see something that you want to go for, just go for it right now, because the eagle is about grasping, like the eagle is grasping the sun in this illustration. And so it's really saying go right to the heart of the matter, embrace the changes that you're going through. I think that you are closing in on something that is absolute freaking gold for you. And I think that it just is a matter of, again, with the dolphin, just continuing to go into this, right? There's undulations, there's waves. There's going to be times where you feel more energy and less energy, but try and stay focused as you go through these shifting times. Let's take a look at your cards. Knight of Swords, Temperance, Four of Swords, Four of Cups, Six of Swords, Page of Pentacles, the Devil, and the Two of Cups. Interesting. So what we see here in the first week of May, definitely there is a sense of forward motion with the Knight of Swords, and I think that you are on the right track with this, whatever it is. So if you're really focused on something, this will be something that is really important for you in the beginning of May. I think that you have your eye on some kind of prize, Capricorn, and I think that you are making meaningful movement towards that. But the Temperance card is also coming through here, and what that really says to me is that it's important to temper your ambitious approach with a little bit of grace for yourself and patience. This is about really harmonizing the kind of go-getter energy that you feel and really finding a way to work more sustainably with this energy. And I think with the Knight of Swords, it is about knowing what you want, which is a really good thing. And Temperance is really just there to say, yes, you're on the right track, but temper what you're going through with a little bit of like regular silence for yourself as well, so that you're not kind of feeling that you don't have a moment to stop and take a breath, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting, is like, find that balance for yourself. Everybody's gonna have that balance be a little different. With the second week of May, we've got the Four of Swords and the Four of Cups. So here's your breather, like we were just talking about, wanting to get a breath. The second week of May, you've got the breather coming in. So don't be surprised if after that Scorpio full moon, which is in your 11th house of networking and friendships and sort of colleagues and work connections, don't be surprised if there's like a moment of like contemplation or a week that feels a little bit more quiet. This is a really good time to, if you were going to like meditate, this would be a really good week for having a meditation practice every day, maybe experimenting with that. It could also be a really good time to just give yourself a little bit more leisure, I want to say, because with the Four of Swords, you want to also watch your health. And again, take really good care of yourself, because sometimes when we're in this Knight of Swords place, we're not necessarily thinking about anything other than what we're trying to learn or what we're trying to do, right? And then I think it follows, just like I was saying, there's these undulations. Before I turn these cards over, I was talking about that. This is like the low point, or like the ebb and flow. This is the lower part of that. So that's kind of what I'm getting with the second week of May. Is it's a really good time to take a break, give yourself a little bit of time off of work, or a little bit more leisure, or to just relax your mind a little bit. Now with the third week of May, we have the Six of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. So this is where I really see kind of like the rubber meeting the road when it comes to a change in your, possibly like your work, because it's Pentacles, and Pentacles represent, you know, the practical side of life. So that would be work, finances, your skills, your vocation, projects that you may be working on, and that kind of thing. Could also be things that you're learning, because the pages for me are all representative of students or people who are kind of at like an entry-level position. So this is about you being willing to be a beginner at something, and that's coming in the third week of May. And this makes a lot of sense because the third week of May culminates with the new moon in Gemini, and that's actually going to be in your sixth house. And you know, some of the modern significations of the sixth house would be like work, basically, but it's work that maybe is a little bit more difficult, or that is a little bit more behind the scenes. I personally think of the 10th house as like the major career house, and what's visible about what we do. But the sixth house can relate to like the daily work that we have to engage in order to make that effort, you know, that is kind of emerging and exposed and visible in the 10th house. So there could be some behind the scenes learning going on in the third week of May. You could be practicing something or embarking on some kind of a new journey when it comes to your professional life. And again, that is also very fitting with the symbolism of a new moon in your sixth house. So that would make a lot of sense to me if that was what some of you guys were working on. Just be okay with being a beginner, and recognize also that sometimes beginner's mind gives the freshest and most influential insights. So I think that that's also something positive to remember, is that just because you may feel like you're just starting out with something, or you may feel a little bit insecure about what you have to offer and whether it has value, I think that this is really saying, like, just go with it. With the Six of Swords, again, it's kind of echoing the Dolphin message of just continue going with the flow, right? Be comfortable being in motion. And that also means be comfortable amidst the mental motion of learning something new. Okay, the last week of May, we have the Devil card with the Two of Cups. So this is also something really important. When we see the Two of Cups with the Devil, there could be a potential warning coming up here. And again, I don't necessarily focus a lot on love and romance with my readings. It's just not the topic that really comes through me naturally. But the Two of Cups and the Devil can relate to, because the Two of Cups is like a first meet kind of card, it can be representing a longer term relationship or an established relationship, but generally speaking, it's more the newer type of relationships. So seeing this card with the Devil, it can represent this like message of just care, like take care if you are connecting with someone new, whether that's a romantic partner or a business partner or just anyone. Make sure that you are keeping in mind, I guess, what you would call the mistakes that you may have made in the past. I mean, I don't really believe, like, from a larger perspective, that anything is completely a mistake, because we always learn from it, right? But if there were like consistent themes of, okay, yeah, that wasn't so great about that friendship. Maybe you had a friend who was kind of the type of friend that would always sort of take the bigger half of something when you're hanging out, or always kind of put themselves first, and it's just like a very consistent theme. And in order for you to be their friend, you always had to kind of make space for that and then therefore put yourself last every time. And that's just an example, but I'm just kind of expressing it so that you can kind of see how this energy might play out. It's almost like you may have cleansed your life of relationships, that weren't that supportive or weren't that equal. And now there's an opportunity where you could be connecting with someone new. And it's not to say that the new person is going to have those same tendencies, but it's also with the Devil card, it's like where we create for ourselves the difficulties, shame, drama, and problems in our life. So even if the person is maybe a lovely person, kind of on the same level as you in a lot of ways, if you are still in kind of an inferiority complex, or if your natural automatic inhibition is really to deny your own needs consistently within relationships, like if you haven't worked that out within yourself, then you can kind of turn what is like a clean slate into a jumbled kind of mess of patterns that you've had from your past. So this is also about taking self-responsibility. Again, this person, if there is someone new that you're thinking about working with, or someone new that's a potential business partner, or someone new that's a potential friend or boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of thing, they may not be, this draw may not necessarily be saying that they're trying to take advantage of you. I mean, it could be the situation because the Devil is, here, but more often than not, I think it's also about recognizing where we ourselves attract and create relationships that end up leaving us feeling resentful. And I think that that can be something that Capricorns are subject to, because you're such a dutiful and service-oriented sign, and you can be quite agreeable, especially in professional settings or with people who you care about, and people who you care what they think of you. You can be very easygoing and you can find ways to work with people, and that's a good thing. But if over time you're denying your actual needs and truth in favor of keeping the peace, that will get out of balance and it will create challenges down the road. So that's one of the things to just be aware of. Again, it's not saying, ooh, this person's bad. They may or may not be somebody who's ready to co-create that pattern again. But there is a sense of like, just be aware. Just be aware of how you start things, how you start relationships, and what you're actually looking for and what you're actually drawn to, because there could be patterns there. And so just it gives you more information. So that definitely feels like a very separate energy from the first 3 weeks of May. The first 3 weeks are very much about your own focus, your own growth, taking care of yourself, doing, whatever you have to do to kind of stay in the rhythm of your new creation or your new path that's opening up for you in the work sector. But the last week of May feels like it's a little bit of a segue. It's like a temporary segue into emotional terrain. And so I just want to give you that, as fair warning, not to say that anything bad is going to happen, but it's also just being aware and exploring. Like you can take an exploratory attitude to this, like, oh, okay, so how do I tend to create that? Or how might I have been, drawing more of those patterns in, or what are my automatic responses to things, and just taking that attitude of curiosity rather than like dread or guardedness, right? I think that's always a great place to start any new relationship, is just with curiosity, not only about the other person, but about you and how you show up in contact with the other person, because every new relationship is a really powerful alchemical process of interplay between two personalities. So, all right, your message from Bob Ross is, go out on a limb, that's where all the fruit is. I love this one. I love this card so much, and I think it's so sweet, because I think what's really going on for you, and this reminds me of the eagle kind of grasping, like we had that grasping energy coming through. It's like you're zeroing in on something, you're zeroing in on it, and the cards are saying, go out on a limb a little bit, be willing to be seen in all of your Capricorn glory. Just be assertive, I think, right now, and take charge and direct your own destiny. And that might feel like you're going out on a limb, but hey, that's where all the fruit is. So that's what you gotta do sometimes. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. All right, Capricorn, I hope that this reading has been helpful to you in some way. I hope it gives you some practical thoughts and some things to ponder and contemplate as you go through the month of May. I'm sending you tons of love. Thank you so much for being here on my channel. If you want to let me know that you're still with me, leave me a little, I don't know if there's a dolphin emoji, but write the word dolphin or give me a little dolphin emoji, or just say I'm still here and give me just a little note that you're still with me. I love getting those little comments from you guys, and truthfully, it really does give me such a feeling of connection with you, right? Because it's so awesome to hear your verbal feedback on the readings and what may have connected and what your story is. Every chance that I get to read those comments, I absolutely love it. And I think even just the simple emoji comments are like a really almost like an unspoken way that we are able to connect over my videos. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for interacting. Thank you for giving this video a thumbs up and sharing it with a Capricorn that you think may get some use out of it. I'm sending you guys so much love. Take care of yourselves in May. I'll put the information to the astrology class that I'm leading, which is starting on the full moon in Scorpio on May 7th. So all that information will be below the video as well, if you would like to go on this astrological self-care journey with me. Okay, Capricorn, I hope you have an amazing month. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.